All right, everybody. Tonight on the Falling in Love with Failure, I have Denise Pappas. Is that the best way to say your last name?
It's Pappas.
Pappas. It's nice,
Mhm.
just full on America like that. Denise Pappas. And I'm not even going to get into the background because your story, I was telling my wife right before I hopped on, your story is so awesome just because of, like, you'll get into the three big events that happened to you. The worst one was when somebody told you you don't know business. And I just love that spirit. So we're going to get into the three questions. The first
Mhm.
one is, what is your individual secret to success?
I that's a really it's a great question. And I think for me personally is to really have that mindset of success is standing up one more time than you fail. So every time you fail forward, you always learn something. And I love the fact that I have a lot of great life
Yeah.
experiences that have taught me from failure how to be successful. So I think the key to success is you're just one step away from success. You're one, if everybody tells you no, then move on. You're eventually going to get a yes at some point in your life. It's not going to last forever. And I think that a life, we have seasons that we go through, and I call them there's seasons of grief. I went through a season of grief. I went through kind of like the season of success, where like all of a sudden my whole life turned around and everything came up roses. But it's kind of a roller coaster. I mean, you're always going up and down and up and down. And I have to remind myself when things are really, really good, they don't last. But the same thing is true when it's bad, because if it's bad, it's not going to last. And I think part of the other one is I have a really deep faith, and I always think that God wouldn't bring me to it if he wouldn't bring me through it. Now, I have true
I love
confession here. Sometimes I mess up and I don't listen to what God
it.
tells me. And so
Yeah.
I've just learned that his plan is greater than anything I can ever do. And I think in just in a nutshell is that success is just one step away. It's getting up that one extra day. And it's doing, if it were easy, everybody would do it, right?
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I mentioned it, I alluded to it. Do you mind so that people have a reference? The That story that you told me just the other day, and just so everybody knows, Denise and I were just on a boot camp together. It was a JV speaker boot camp. So I got to hear the nice, like full on story of Denise, your past, your life. And it would be really cool if you could give from that talk that you gave, those three things that were said to you that were just insane.
Um, well, thanks for that. I think we've all had bad experiences in our life. And I asked who here has ever had a horrible boss.
Yeah.
And I realize that not everybody's had a horrible boss, but everybody's had a bad experience. And in my
Yeah.
case, I was young in my career. It was a late night project I was working on with my manager, and he swooped in for a kiss.
Yeah. What?
And I was in my early 20s, and I was so flabbergasted. I was like, this can't be right. Like, and I didn't really know what to do. And then I had a boss that told me if I could sign this on your chest,
It's
I'm
so,
cleaning it up for your audience.
yeah,
I will give
yeah.
you the commission from this order. And I was like, again, I was like, are you kidding me? And I've had several other things, instances like that. I grew up with four brothers and three sisters, but mostly with my brothers. So I know what all you men are like.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
okay,
could
kind of
hold
brutal.
my own
Yeah.
in any given situation. But when you're young and starting out, you just really have to make adjustments. But I think the one that hurt me more than anything was when I had a boss that told me I didn't know business. And it was demeaning in a way, but it also
Yeah.
challenged me. And I went back to school. I got my MBA. Not only did I get my MBA, I graduated 4.0, top of my class, while I was working full time, traveling full time, and still working on my master's online. And what I found out was there's a lot of things that you learn in school and college, everywhere. But the one thing that you don't learn is the emotional intelligence and empathy is far more important than any spreadsheet. Because as we continue to transform and automate so many things, humanity is the only thing that can inspire hearts. And that's kind of the crux of what I really am passionate about is I made up my mind that I would never be the leader. I would be a leader that never had those in charge of me would never have to endure what I had to endure, and that just because you have a title doesn't mean you're a good leader. I didn't want to be a
That is
good leader.
fantastic.
I wanted to be a great leader,
That
and
is
I've tried to live up to
fantastic.
that.
The fact that what's interesting is how easy it is that you could have either, A, let it crush you, right?
Hmm.
Or B, you could have gotten to the top. You knew business, you're in charge now, and then you could have been, for all intents and purposes, an asshole, right? Like that's just you could have
Yeah.
been that. But the fact that you switched it entirely on its head, you took a negative experience and you turn it into, I want to spread a message of uh, be decent in the fullest sense of the word. We use
Hmm.
words a lot that can get really watered down. But a leader is somebody who is able to draw whoever they're in charge of to something greater in a way that everybody can relate to. They guide. They're more than some people put it as there's bosses and there's leaders. So the
Hmm.
fact that you within your own life you transformed it into something else. That's beautiful. And thank you for that.
And that's kind of where my passion is, and I'm trademarking it
Yes.
because I want people to be mad fab. I want leaders to be mad fab. And you're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
my team's already mad. I don't need them to be any more mad. But mad in this sense means make a difference. And I want you to be fierce, authentic, and bold. And kind of spoiler alert for anybody that's out there and you're either in a leadership position or thinking of being in a leadership position, your team watches you. They see how you show up. They see how you treat other people. They see how you treat people on your team. And those people are in charge, and I'm always looking for who's the next person that can take over my job. And I'm trying to train that person. And I sit with my team and I give them I check on people, not just projects. And I think the other thing that I do is I celebrate effort as opposed to outcomes, which outcomes are, we always want successful outcomes. And I say, if we succeed as a team. If we fail, it's my fault. And I truly feel that way. If we fail, I take the brunt of that because what did I miss? And that's part of falling in love with failing because I always do a group refresh and say, what did we get right? What can we do better next time? What can we do without? So that means like, what can we cut out? And let's just simplify it. And that's my whole thing is it's not that hard. You just have to be decent to people and you have to be nice.
That is
And
so
I mean
awesome.
that in the biggest sense of the word.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. I think that COVID did a number on people and people forgot almost what it was like to be civil to one another.
Yes.
It's not that hard. I have a ministry that I've done in the past, and I said, it's so easy. What's one thing that you love about yourself that you can share with others? One physical attribute that you love about yourself. And I always ask everybody at the conference, like, what's the one thing you love about yourself? And somebody asked me one time, well, what do you love about yourself, Denise? And I was sitting there going, it's my smile. Because how easy is it just to smile at somebody who maybe is having a really bad day and you smile at them and say, gosh, I really love that outfit you're wearing. Or, I mean, just something simple. And I'm very sincere and authentic from my heart. I wouldn't say it if somebody had a really gross outfit on. I'd say,
Yeah.
good Lord, did you take a look in the mirror this morning? But I mean, just to always be kind, because if you can be anything in this world, you can be kind.
That's brilliant. And that's a message that I think we need to drill down is that you being authentic doesn't mean you need to be a pain. It's easy to be a pain,
Mhm.
but you can be authentically yourself and be happy, awesome, and spread the love, right?
Mhm.
Um, I don't want to run out of time, so I'm going to move to the next question. What is your relationship personally with failure?
Oh, I don't like to fail.
Yeah, I feel you.
I am by nature, if you haven't picked this up yet, an overachiever.
Yes.
So I don't like to fail. And I remember the first time that really hit me when I felt like I failed. And that's when I went through a divorce. And I felt
Gotcha.
like I had failed my family. I had failed my husband. I had failed myself. And it was really, really hard because I felt like I lost my best friend. I didn't think I would ever recover. I felt like he'd asked me for a divorce, and I felt like my heart was ripped into a million pieces and thrown back in my hands with blood dripping off of it.
I'm so sorry.
I never thought I would recover from that. I never thought I'd be in that situation, but I learned. I learned a lot about myself, of what I was willing to put up with in the future and what I wasn't willing to put up with in the future. And I took it, it took me a long time, I'm not gonna lie. It took me a long time to kind of recover from that. And just a lot of self-discovery. And I didn't look at it as a failure because I was a little judgy, like some people maybe that have never been through a divorce. And people are like, oh, that's the easy way out. I'm here to tell you it is not the easy way out. It was heartfelt. It was soul searching for months on end to find out who I really was and how I came out a stronger person. And I think there's several other examples I could use, but that was the first one that really just almost tore me apart for who I really was. But in retrospect, I wouldn't be as fabulous as I am today if
Yeah.
I hadn't gone through that. So, and I think that, like I say, I don't like to fail. I like to make the sure bet, like this is what's going to happen. I never start an argument unless I know I can win it. I should have been a lawyer, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
But I think that that's the biggest key is eh, when you're going through it, it's really hard, but we can do the hard things. It's when you come out on the other side is when you realize, oh, lessons learned. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Or I will never do this again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I learned one important thing is never say never. And I learned not to judge people.
That's great.
I
That's
think the biggest
something,
lesson
yeah.
I learned was not to judge others because we don't know what goes on behind closed doors.
It's excellent because that's the kind of thing that everybody goes through. Everybody judges
Mhm.
everybody. I mean, unless they're a saint, they judge everybody judges. And I know just like for us, example, before we had children, it's really easy to, if you see a crying child in public, you're like, oh man, get your child under control, right? And then you have children, you realize, oh no, please forgive me for all the times beforehand. So the fact that you going through the pain has helped you become less judgy, that
Mhm.
alone is a huge win. It's
I
amazing.
think and I think people attract to me because of what I've been through.
Yeah.
And I don't feel, I mean, look, we still kind of get a little judgy when I'm with my sisters
Yeah.
because that's what we do
Yeah.
best. But truly, taking people, you have to meet people where they're at. And that was another lesson I learned is, they may not be at the same level you're at, but that doesn't make them any less or any better. I have a really good story from my childhood.
Oh yeah.
When I was probably 5 or 6 years old, I grew up on a farm. We had migrant workers, and it was just a hot, hot, muggy day in northwestern Ohio. And we had come in, and I probably had Kool-Aid, and I remember my father saying, come on, honey, hurry up. We have to get back out in the fields. And we had migrant workers that worked with us. And I said, oh, let them people take care of that. I gotta rest. Oh, word, was that the wrong thing to say to my papa? My dad was not happy with me, and he said, young lady, put that down and get out there now. And but the story didn't stop there. Later that night, he pulled me aside and he said, you know, we need them as much as they need us. We need them more than they need us. But I want to let you know that you're no greater or smaller than they are, but you're all equal because God loves us all. So it was a really, really good lesson to learn at such a young age because I just don't look at people the same that I did with my 5-year-old eyes.
Yeah. Your father obviously is a very beautiful man. That's a very valuable lesson at 5 years old too.
Yeah.
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 And farm work is definitely some of the most honest work, so you're gonna get some of the most honest
Mhm.
responses to life. I know from my time working on a farm, uh, there's nothing that'll humble you like a farm. It's just the way it is. It's just the people, the work, the animals, let alone, right?
Mhm.
That's amazing. Um, the last question, people have heard a bit of your story now, and anybody that resonated with you, they see themselves in
Mhm.
you. What's your advice to them if they are in your situation?
I think there's a couple of things.
Oh, do it. Yeah.
The first one is realize that you're not alone. There's somebody else out there that's been down that road before. And I think the biggest thing I learned was to reach out to other people and kind of say, "Hey, how did you do this?" And do you have any advice? One of my best favorite questions I ask is I find somebody that's 10 years older than me and I ask them, if you could go back 10 years, what would you do differently? And I think that that's really critical. And I ask that a lot, but I also have younger mentors and I encourage this because they know technology a lot better than I do in some cases. So I try to help mentor them, but at the same time, they mentor me. But if you're in that situation where, you're going through a divorce or you've been humbled in some way or you've had a horrible experience and you're just getting out of bed is difficult, just know that it's not going to last. Just know that you need to give yourself some grace. And when you're tired, it's okay to take a break. I think that was the biggest thing is I've had such a busy life with traveling that I needed to know that somebody just had to tell me, honey, you need to stop and take a break. Like you're giving, 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 but you can't give from an empty cup. You need to fill your cup back up. So when you're in those situations where you fail, you just have to know you're just one phone call, one post, one network connection, one podcast, 1 gig away from the next step that's going to take you to where you want to be. So I would say just hang in there, hang tight, and make sure you surround yourself with great people. I mean, that's the biggest thing with me is my whole life. I haven't always had the best people around me. I've had to change out, and it's okay to let some friends go because you need to grow. If you're going to grow, and there has to be a change, and you have to have that. I call it pulling yourself up by your big girl panties. Pull yourself up by your big girl panties and take a really hard look at yourself and say, okay, this is where I'm at and this is where I want to be. What am I going to have to do to change from point A to point B to get to where I want to be? And I think that the biggest thing is to be kind to others, but also give yourself grace and be kind and know that you're not going to last there forever, wherever you're at.
Denise, thank you so much. That's the thing. There's billions of people on the planet, and so many people go through similar things, similar enough that it's they have people around them that are willing to help them.
Mhm.
But it feels so, and it's so personal as well that you can feel unbelievably alone. And there's something that if we can get people to stop feeling alone in their failure, alone in their suffering, then
Mhm.
that'll save so many people. It'll save lives. Somebody that is maybe going through a divorce right now, and
Mhm.
it blindsided them as the worst thing ever. Just to know that it's like you've made
Mhm.
it to this other side. You've done unbelievable soul searching, and everybody can see you smile.
Mhm.
Your smile is huge, right? Like you can get through the other side. So, thank
And
you so much.
I just want to leave you with this thought.
Yeah.
And I can't, I thought it was this, but I find out that it's my Angelou. People may forget what you say, they'll never forget how you make them feel.
That's
So
fantastic.
when people leave, I want them to feel excited about themselves and about the world around them and just feel so in love with themselves and like it's okay to fail. It is really okay to fail because you don't really fail if you take the lesson. It's failing if you don't learn the lesson, right?
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for ending with that because now I don't need to say anything on that. That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, Denise, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to share your story. Your story has got to get out there. It has to.
Mhm.
It's a fantastic story.
We're getting there, getting
Yeah,
there.
exactly. And I think it's at a great start. I know you as Miss Fabulous. That was like the
Miss
very first,
Fabulous.
yeah, the very first thing. So everybody who's listening, become MADFAB. This is your duty,
Become
right?
MADFAB because Miss
Yeah,
Fabulous is coming to a town near you.
exactly, exactly. Life is worth living no matter the
Mhm.
struggles. Now, Denise, how can people see your story, connect with you?
Right now, you can go to Facebook and find me on Fabulous Pappas Enterprises, LLC.
Nice.
You get
That's a
there, you
great
can
name.
DM me, and hopefully in a few weeks, I will get my website up and running. But until then, come friend me and follow me at Fabulous Pappas Enterprises, LLC, or follow me
Beautiful.
on Instagram.
Beautiful. Thank you, Denise. Have a fantastic night. Thank you again, and everybody have a great one.
All right, be fabulous.